Your whole neighborhood goes black in seconds. Except your house. The Patriot Power Generator 2200X from 4 Patriots keeps your lights on when the grid goes down. It's the most powerful generator 4 Patriots has ever built. Only 4 Patriots gives you backup power without gas, fumes, or a loud engine. Just lights, a cold fridge, and peace of mind when the power fails. Right now, save $500 and get 2 solar panels free. That means you can recharge twice as fast, but only while supplies last. Keep your lights on, your food cold, and your family calm when the grid goes down. Don't wait for the next blackout. Visit 4patriots.com today. That's the number 4, PATRIOTS.com. And see why families trust 4 Patriots to stay ready.
Hey Max, you look absolutely dashing in that purple tie. Ready to harness the world?
You bet, Daisy. I'm ready as I'll ever be. And might I say, your purple tie really pops with your vest.
Thanks. I almost went with a cape, but didn't want to come across as pretentious.
Nonsense. Anyone in our line of work should rock a cape.
You might be onto something, Max.
Phew, so here we go. First day on the job. We've got this, right?
Right. Don't forget, we both graduated from Dogs Inc. with honors.
Which means I can guide my human around a busy city with ease.
And I can give my human a restful night.
I hope my human is kind and loving.
And I hope mine likes wet kisses and zoomies.
Ready to make a difference?
Born ready. Let's go.
Discover how extraordinary dogs like Daisy and Max change lives at no cost to the recipients. Visit dogsinc.org.
All right, we are back. And when I say we, I have both candidates who are running for the Bristol 9th seat for the House of Representatives, which will soon be vacated by Chris Markey, who is expected to be the next district attorney here in Bristol County. So we have Chester Tom and, am I pronouncing it right? Tam, okay, not Tom. All right. And Henry Bousquet, both welcome to the show, first of all. I'm glad you were both able to make it.
Thank you for having us.
So what I'm going to do is, well, we didn't flip a coin. So why don't we buck up? You be odds, you be evens, and then whoever goes, huh?
I didn't bring a coin.
No, yeah, just buck up. So just throw a 1 or a 2. Ready?
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yep.
1, 2, 3. Oh.
So we're gonna do on 3. I'm sorry.
I did say
2,
3. Yeah. 1, 2, 3.
All right.
So that's even.
All right. So you're going to go second.
I'm first. You said
You're going to
I
go
was
first. So
even.
you'll go second on the closing statements.
Yeah.
Very good. Okay. So first, welcome to the show, and tell the audience your opening statements, including who you are, what you're about, and what your plans are as state representative.
Okay. My name is Joseph Tam. Obviously, running for the 9th Bristol to hopefully represent and serve Dartmouth and New Bedford up at the State House. I'm a husband, a father, a homeowner in Dartmouth for the last 10 years. My family roots started here in New Bedford. My grandparents migrated from China back in the 1960s, and my parents met in New Bedford. And my grandparents came in pursuit of that American dream, and I am a product of that. You know, my parents met in New Bedford, got married, had me and my brother, and they also opened a Chinese restaurant back in the 80s right here in Fairhaven. My parents still live in Fairhaven, and I've put 13 years of my life, and I don't know if you want to talk about China, putting kids to work. I mean, I started there 9 years old doing dishes, so we're talking about child labor laws.
Which restaurant?
Chongqing Restaurant. So they closed early 2001. Yeah. So they're retired. But going through the restaurant business, I really learned all the aspects of hard work and how that helps you get ahead. And once I graduated college, I ventured out to the Boston area, got an entry-level job doing IT. Solving problems is what I do best, and I've worked my way from entry-level all the way to a systems engineer, and 20-plus years in career in IT industry in many private sectors when it has to do with software, financials, pharmaceuticals, and even healthcare was the last thing of where I had in IT. So right now I see we have a problem in Massachusetts. Affordability is a huge problem right now. And, I would like to have a seat at the table to see if we can come up with a solution, because I have children. Many of the people who are on fixed incomes just can't afford to live here anymore. And we have a large outward migration going on with a lot of the residents. I've been knocking on doors. I've been hearing the stories. Good luck to you, but I won't be around to vote for you. So those are the things that I don't like to hear. Because I want my kids to grow to be able to have their lives here when they're out. So my oldest just moved out a few weeks ago, or actually a month ago now, and he wouldn't be able to do that if his girlfriend's grandparents didn't own a 3-family and was renting a 2-bedroom for $700. You can't find that anywhere in Massachusetts right now. So I want to be able to preserve that American dream for our residents here, and to be able to stay with their families.
All right, very good. Thank you. And Mr. Bousquet?
Thank you. Ken, our current political climate has become a battle of rhetoric instead of a search for results. We see division where there should be cooperation. I'm Henry Bousquet, and I'm running for state representative for the 9th Bristol District. And as a vocational teacher and former city councilor, I spent my career in the classrooms and kitchens of this district, listening to you, not special interests. My platform is simple. First, your taxes must be used responsibly. Affordability is my stated goal for the next legislative session. Second, public safety must be supported in an ethical and accountable manner to ensure neighborhoods remain safe. And third, as an educator, I'll fight for the safe school systems that challenge our students to exceed expectations and not settle for less. We're at a crossroads, Ken. We can continue with the same old politics, or we can choose a representative who shows up and works tirelessly for us. I'm Henry Bousquet, and I humbly ask for your support in the Republican primary on September 1st, and again in November. Ken, I've been in this community my entire life. I grew up in New Bedford, and I have friends and family all over the South Coast, mostly in New Bedford and Dartmouth. I am committed to this job. I am excited about the constituent services. In fact, recently I helped a resident get some bollards in front of a gas main in front of their house that they were really worried about getting damaged or causing an issue if somebody ran into it or smashed it with their car. It's that kind of nitty-gritty stuff that I like to do. I want to help people and solve problems. And I think right now the state has problems, big problems, and they're all coming home to roost. So all right. I think it's time for a change at Beacon Hill.
I'll start with you, Mr. Tam. The Massachusetts makeup of the legislature is 85% Democratic. As a extreme minority, being a Republican, how do you plan to work with them, and how do you plan to get things done that they're not necessarily going to be agreeable to? How would you approach this?
So my approach, I know it's heavily one-sided up at the State House. My approach would be to have a calm demeanor when you approach this, because when there's a lot of fighting involved in terms of whether you're left or right, that's not what I'm about. I mean, I'm focused on working with who's up there to find the solution. And my question that I will always ask is this better for the residents of the 9th Bristol in Massachusetts? Those are the ways that we can work together to find the solutions. I mean, when you have a situation and people are so opposite of each other, you have to compromise. You just can't always be like, oh, it's my way or the highway. That's not how we make things better in our communities. So we really need to focus and work together, and not getting to all these shouting matches is what we're seeing. Try to find the solutions and take the politics out of it.
All right. I'll ask you the same question, Henry.
It's easy, Ken. We all have issues. Our constituencies all have pretty much the same issues. And whether you're a Republican or Democrat, I think the bottom line is people need to be able to afford to live in Massachusetts. And it's simply a situation where priorities aren't aligned. And I would go in and I would look to see what the issues are for them and how they align with the priorities of the 9th Bristol District. And then, the voters of the 9th Bristol District is what I mean. I've met many, many people, probably 300 or 400 people now, since I've been hitting the road. And they all seem to come back with the same things. Having a place for their kids to grow up, their adult children, to stay in the SouthCoast, and being able to pay your gas and electric bill, and your home insurance. Those things are all, I think, common denominator issues. I think those are easy to find compromise on Beacon Hill with. I just don't think that they prioritize that. So I'm going to go in there with, some priorities that I learned about here in the 9th Bristol, and my hope is to build bridges to those Democrats that are amenable to making life better for the residents of Massachusetts.
All right. My second question is going to be unique to both of you. You were on the Election Commission.
Yes.
And there was an incident where there were no Republican ballots available.
Yeah.
What action did you take, and do you support the investigation?
All right. So to be clear, that particular day, there was a bag with some ballots for the Republican election that day that didn't make it into the tote that it was supposed to make it into.
Was that investigated why it wasn't in the tote?
Yeah, it was a human error. It was simple human error. They made a boo-boo, but it was rectified in 15 minutes of the polls opening. And as an election commissioner, it's, for me, it was a volunteer job, and I was at school that day, so I kind of learned about it probably midday. But I contacted Manny the moment I learned about it, and when I got out of school, I gave him a phone call to find out what had happened, to get the whole, to get his story, to get the reality of what took place. And I can tell you, as somebody who's sat there for the last 10 years and watched them build those boxes and watch them empty them out as they come through to collect all the data, it's quite a project to put together the election in New Bedford. So it's not, to me, it wasn't a shock that something got missing. It's a matter of manpower, and it was a simple mistake that day, a simple error. Now, in terms of the federal highlight on New Bedford, I think if you just look at New Bedford, it sort of mirrors all the other gateway communities in the state. So, it could have been any one of us that got flagged for this. Obviously, they're not going to pick Fall River. Fall River swung for Trump. So, we were very close here, too. So, I don't know. I don't think that it's any big deal. I'm not concerned about it as somebody who was there monitoring the elections for 10 years. They're very safe. They're very organized. That was one time in the 10 years I was on the commission that I see something like that happen.
A lot of people were very upset with that human error.
They were.
Yeah,
they absolutely were. Yeah, and I get it. I understand.
It was a morning revelation.
Oh yeah, yep.
And you were at school, so you weren't able to deal with it for hours. You're saying?
Well, I didn't have to deal with it at all. The call came from the warden down to City Hall, and Manny DeBrito got in the car and drove them directly up to the ballot box, and within 15 minutes, people were voting.
All right,
So.
Mr. Tam, you ended up on the floor of the convention without any. How did you get on the floor if you weren't elected?
So, the story behind that right there was like I did get on the floor. I was a volunteer with the Civil Rights Coalition, and that's how I was able to get into the convention. But when I showed up to the day before where they were handing out passes, there was a lot of confusion going on. There was lines everywhere. I was asking the people within the Civil Rights Coalition, like, how do I get my badge to get in to help work with the table? And somehow that's the badge that I was given. I didn't ask for it. There was just, and yes, I knew a lot of people at the convention, and very many people are familiar with me. And so I was there. I was on the floor talking to people, but it was more to just promote the Civil Rights Coalition and their initiative to repeal Chapter 135.
Okay. All right. Thank you for the answers here. We have a governor who is she's not getting the funding that we're seeing out of the GOP. That's going to be encouraging to you. Are either of you committed to one of these candidates so far running for governor? And if so, which one are you choosing? I'll ask you first, Mr. Tam.
Me?
Yeah.
Okay. So, I've been an advocate for the Republican Party for a long time now, for about 2.5 years, 3 years getting involved. And I believe anyone but Healy. So both candidates have my support. I will put my support behind whoever wins the primary.
So you're sitting on the fence for now?
I am sitting on the fence just because I feel like what's going on with the party right now is like, there's a lot of division, a lot of people attacking each other. And what we don't need to have is in-party fighting. and losing support for our candidates. Because I've heard a lot of on social media now is that there's people saying like, it's not because of what the candidates are saying, it's because of what the people are saying for the candidates, and they're attacking these people. And what ends up happening is so much sour taste in their mouth because of that. They're saying, well, if my candidate doesn't win, I'm not supporting the other candidate. I'm staying out of it. It's not something that I want to see happen within our party, because I want us to have the seat at the table at the executive branch. And in order for us to do that, we need to come together and unify. Instead of fighting, we need to help our candidates win.
They're breaking the Reagan rule not to attack fellow Republicans. Henry, have you decided whether or not you are going to support one of the two candidates?
Yeah, Ken, I was proud to pay my convention fee and a visitor's fee for my wife so we could attend that day and enjoy all the aspects of the Republican convention, including voting. I stood up and I voted for two candidates who I thought were going to be an excellent addition to this state. And I supported in that election for Lieutenant Governor Sean Oliver, my friend from Ward 3, and Mike Minot for governor, because I think Mike is going to do an amazing job as governor. And I'm looking forward to him, ousting Healy and really bringing, not that I don't, not that Brian wouldn't get my vote if he were to win the primary. He absolutely would. I am Republicans all the way. We have to dump Healy. She has to go.
Okay. I'll ask you this question first. The Republican Party growth is stagnant in Massachusetts, declining in some areas. We're going to lose a couple of Senate seats. It's getting worse in terms of representation. What do you do as state representative to help build where you are, to help build the Republican Party?
Well, I think it starts with building bridges, right? You have to get people on your side, and I think that's something I think I do pretty well. I work at school. I'm a member of the union, and as such, I joined the negotiation committee there. And I've been through 2 rounds of contract negotiations with our union, which is pretty fledgling. We only organized in 2020. And I've never really been a fan of unions, public unions in particular, but other than the fact that, if they're established, I support that, right? So as an educator, at Voc, we didn't have one. Our school was in existence for over 100 years before, we implemented the union. I think that, where was I going with that, Ken? I lost my train of thought. You asked
the
me
question
about
is how are you going to help to build in your capacity as a state rep in the 9th? How do you build the Republican Party where you are?
So, if I'm elected as the 9th Bristol rep, it's really going to be my job to help other candidates, right? Like I if that happens, I know what I'm doing now. I know what's working for me, and I think that if we take a model that works, right, like find the model that worked for Sean, look at what other campaigns are doing, and try to assist other candidates. Right. I think we'll be in good shape.
All right, we're going to take a commercial break, and then we'll have Chester. You'll answer the same question when we return. Don't go away.
This is New Bedford's news talk station, WBSM.
Oh, it feels so good to be back after the long Independence Day weekend. Let me say week. Today on Brian's Biz Beat, longtime business owner, dare we say entrepreneur, Chris Medeiros joins us during the 1 p.m. hour on Brian's Biz Beat. That's right after Jose Matos on WBSM.
The greatest play of the generation is coming to San Francisco.
Hello? Hello?
It's one of the best comedies in years.
I need to get through the curtain, please.
And a multi-Tony Award-winning show.
Please, the audience needs me.
There's funny. There's very funny. And then there's Oh, Mary. Cola Scola's Oh, Mary. At the Curran Theater.
Where are we?
From October 13th through November 1st. Get tickets at us.atgtickets.com.
We are New Bedford's news talk station, WBSM.
All right. And through no fault of his own, he had the advantage of a commercial break, but I'll ask you the same question, which is how do you build the Republican Party where we live here in the Bristol 9th? You and I both live in the, all three of us live in the Bristol 9th. How do you, in your capacity as state representative, what would you do to help build the Republican Party?
So, I mean, this is in my wheelhouse already. For the last 2.5 years since I've been getting involved, my message is to try to get unenrolled or even people who don't vote to join the Republican Party, just because we're outnumbered 3-1 in this state. And, I'm very vocal online, and a lot of people criticize the Mass GOP because they say it doesn't align with their views. Well, my message to everybody right now, if you're fed up with the one-party rule in this state, come and help us fix, our state. We need more people. And I've been trying to get this snowball thing going where, if I convince you to join the Republican Party, which I've have many people, I try to get them to talk to 5 or 10 people to see if they can get them to switch over. We need to build a party. That's the only way we're going to get some relevance in our state, to show that we're more purple. I really do truly believe we're purple, just many of them are on the registered as unenrolled. So when we get a larger Republican Party, we would get notice from the national stage. The RNC would take notice, and maybe they will send some help here and some funding. And my message is, if you really want to join the Republican Party to help us reshape and build it, this is our opportunity to do it. We have a real good chance of getting more candidates in right now, just because of the nature of what's going on in Massachusetts. And I'm already doing that, where I've connected with many of the other state rep and state senate candidates. I have a personal chat going with them to try to help each other win, because I do a lot on social media with messaging, and I'm trying to help everybody else to get that message out there, because we can't do it alone. We have to do it together.
But you both commit to doing something to build the party with your time as state representative?
Absolutely, because I'm already doing it.
Okay. All right. Repeat that, Henry, because I had your mic off.
Yeah, no, I said I believe it's essential. Okay.
All right. Very important. All right, so we talked about unions. We did see in the 2024 elections that the Teamsters Union sort of broke with tradition and actually went with President Donald Trump. I've been in the union in Boston. I've done construction in Boston, and I sit in those lunch pails back in the day and listen to the conversations. And as a younger man, you listen. You don't really do as much talking. These are not liberal people that are building Boston. These are hardworking blue collar guys who want fair taxation and a limited government. But they vote Democrat. How do we make inroads with unions? I'll start with you. You this time, Mr. Chestertown, because I went with Henry last time.
Okay, in terms of unions, I mean, they do a lot of important work here in the state. Provide a lot of jobs, and whether you work for a union or not, I think you got to have different ideas to try to move things forward. Having a seat at the table to help the discussion, whether you agree with it or not, I think in order for us to collectively help the people who work for the unions or not work for the unions, we should work with anyone who's a part of the unions to see what we can do to make things better for them.
All right. So, but you agree that there needs to be some sort of compromise between the platform and the union's demands and in order to grow that relationship, or you think that...
With anything, there's always got to be a compromise.
Okay. All right. I'll ask you the same question, Mr. Bousquet.
Yeah, where are we at? We're almost 600 days. The New Bedford police officers don't have
I think 7.
Yeah, it's close to that, right? Yeah. It's like almost just about 2 years now where they haven't had a contract. To me, that's egregious. Why we're dragging our feet on that, I'll never understand. Public safety unions in particular are super important, and I honestly don't think that they're as left-leaning as people make them out to be. I've had conversations with many firefighters and police officers and EMTs and paramedics, and they're pretty middle-of-the-road people. We seem to align fairly well, and I think it's just time for both the Republican Party and the Democrat Party to sit down and really listen to what they're saying. Many of the public unions are doing really hard work, right? Difficult work. Being a police officer is just a whole different job now than it was 50 years ago,
10 years ago.
10 years. Absolutely, 10 years ago. Same thing as educators. So much has changed in the last 5 years. If you haven't been a frontline educator since the pandemic, then you pretty much don't know what it's like anymore. And that's what's happened. Many of the administrators across the state just sort of lost sight of that. You know, they don't really understand what it is to be in front of kids anymore.
But what needs to be done to build a bridge between not just public unions, but labor unions and the Republican Party?
Those conversations need to happen. That's all. I think they have to understand we're not that far off. You know, we appreciate their services. We understand that the nation doesn't get built without them. Massachusetts doesn't get built without them. And we have to come to the table to find out what it is. They probably look at the GOP and think, oh, they're just fiscally responsible. They want to shut everything down and, clear out all the taxes. And, that's not entirely true. You know, what I'd like to do is have an opportunity to look at the budget and prioritize it appropriately. You know, I think what happens now is they sit down with the budget and they look at all of their pet projects and they fund all those things first. And whatever's left goes to unions, cities, and towns.
We're going to talk about that because my next question is, I don't believe, and I think a lot of people are a little frustrated with the lack of vocal opposition to the growth of public local funding. New Bedford's getting the same budget they got in 1991. It's 2026. We don't see a lot of people in office right now at the state representative level, Senate, even the mayors. We don't see them complaining enough and being loud enough. What do you do differently?
Well, as a state rep, I go in there and I prioritize the local aid formula, right? We get right to work on that and we fix it. I would really like to strip the budget down to bare minimum and rebuild it, because I feel like...
In this climate with 90% almost Democrats...
Well, I can do that as once I get the binder or series of binders or files, whatever it is they do. I know in New Bedford we get a binder, right? Paper binder. But I'm not sure exactly how they represent it to the state reps at the State House. But when you get that material, right, I think there's an opportunity there to go through and find out exactly what nuts and bolts need to be appropriated for. And then you say, okay, what are our priorities as the 9th Bristol District?
So before you make, let me just, if I'm reading you right, you want a specified answer to the question before you ask it to Beacon Hill.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
or to the governor's office, frankly.
Exactly. I want to find out why it is local aid comes in always so shy.
Okay, Mr. Tim.
So with local aid, we definitely have the money. I mean, you're talking about $63 billion budget. Where is that money going? And when you look at the things, when the reps are advocating for local aid, Democrats votes against it down the party line. You look at what Justin Thurber proposed, Amendment 43, in terms of the millionaire's tax. We're getting about over $2 billion a year, and there's a surplus around $300 million each year. He proposed Amendment 43 to bring maybe half of that money to every single state rep district, and that's 160 state rep districts, and that would give each community about $600,000 a year on top of that. And you're looking what's happening right now in many of the local cities and towns. They're facing Proposition 2.5 overrides, where they're trying to have the citizens of the towns and cities vote on whether or not they increase their property tax by over 2.5. I mean, there's money, it can be had, but they're just not sending it to us. I would absolutely be up there advocating for that. But truly, what we really need to do is kind of change the minds of the one party system up there, because they're voting against these things, but they're actually being proposed by Republicans. We had
the people vote. I think it was 72% voted for the audit of Beacon Hill, and right now it's being ignored.
What a slap in the face.
What do you do differently than what's being done now, representing this district, to say, look, it's not even in question? I mean, this has to be done. I mean, what does Representative Tam, how does he handle this?
I mean, in terms of transparency, I'm all about it. I feel the government is not working for us, and it needs to be transparent, because we need to know where it's going. Because we're finding fraud and waste everywhere. With the SNAP programs, you see headline after headline. Mm-hmm. So we need to have more representation up there who's willing to give the audit. I mean, I have no skeletons to hide. I'm going to go up there as a fresh face, a new voice, someone who can advocate for things, because I haven't been up at Beacon Hill. So you're looking at promoting the audit of the legislature has been big for the last 2 years, but we still haven't been able to get it. We need to get more representatives in office to be able to get up there in Beacon Hill and clean that up.
Mr. Bousquet.
Can you repeat the question?
What do you do differently than what is being done now in terms of calling Beacon Hill to allow for the audit? Yeah.
All right. So, I don't know if you know, but recently the state legislature wrote a law to circumvent that audit, or what the audit's purpose was, right? We wanted, the citizens of Massachusetts wanted a full open audit of the state legislators' budget.
That took a lot of the teeth out of it, right?
And they basically said, we'll give you what we want to give you. We'll show you the books we want to show you. And to me, that's a kick in the teeth to the people of Massachusetts. It's an outright, to me, it's a dereliction of duty. Their job as representatives is to represent us. And if we ask to see the books, it should be no question asked.
Oh, it's not. We didn't ask. We said we're going to see the books. That's what was said.
Right, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah. So that's what I mean. Ask, don't ask, tell. It doesn't matter. The fact is that they're stiff arming us, and that is not how you represent people.
All right. We have some social issues. All right. We have a governor who is instructing police departments not to cooperate with ICE. We have sheriffs who are questioning whether ICE should have any authority at all. What are your positions with regards to immigration in a state like Massachusetts, which pretty much encourages illegal immigrants to find their way here? And I'll start with you.
Sure. Well, first of all,
this is Mr. Bousquet.
Thank you. Yeah, Ken, we have to stop that first, right? We have to sort of shut the spigot off to all the freebies that we basically advertise, and start cooperating with the federal government. The Constitution instructs us, right? That is part of what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to work cooperatively with all facets of government. And the fact that we are, or the state is objecting to that is just outright crazy, So I would encourage my colleagues, the other state reps, to get behind a movement that would, allow for transparency and cooperation with the federal government, both on, fraud investigations and on illegal immigration. This country would never have been as successful as it is today if we just allowed anybody and everybody to wash ashore and eat at the table. You have to earn your place here. That's what this country's about, right?
Okay, Mr. Tam.
So I'm in line when it comes to the federal government, and our state should be working together to get the criminals and these bad actors off the streets. The safety of our residents is the most important thing here. I grew up in a time where I was able to walk the streets of New Bedford and not have to worry about whether or not something was going to happen. My parents, could go to work and know that, by the time night comes out, I'll be home. These day and ages where my kids are going out, I'm always worried. I'm always checking in with them, making sure that they're okay, because you just never know. It's just we're at a landscape right now where, although they say we're one of the safest states to be in, it really doesn't ultimately feel that way. So because me as a parent, or you as a parent, how comfortable are you letting your kids go out there and not have to worry about something happening to them? So that's something that we see. And I come from a family of immigrants. I'm all for legal immigration. I think that's the backbone of our country, where we have all these different cultures coming in, and that's why America was so great. But when we open up the borders and let all these people in, and we're giving them a free handout, that's not really helping our own citizens get be able to live in our state, be safe, be able to thrive. You see all that money being wasted to the illegals, to the home-based program and to the SNAP programs. We need to stop that. We're not an unlimited ATM machine.
Okay. So I see a lot of common ground in your positions, but a different style and how you go about things. So at this point, as I told you, we will allow each of you to ask the other a particular question. If you have one in mind, I'll start with you, Mr. Tam, to Mr. Bousquet.
Okay, so Mr. Bousquet, thank you for running because it's not easy to do, obviously. So if you were to become the legislature of our district, what would be something that you see in common what you can do for New Bedford and Dartmouth to kind of improve the lives of the people who live in our district?
That's a really good question. I plan on bringing a brand of constituent services to the district, Chester, that is like anything they've ever seen here in Massachusetts. I have a proven track record of someone who stands up for what's right, whether it's a popular idea or not. And I work hard for the people that I represent, always have. If they call me in the middle of the night and want me to come sit on their porch, I'll do that. I'll come and see what it is they're looking at, what it is that's bothering them. And I think you can do that for the whole district if you plan well and you respond to your constituency. I think that's the biggest thing that I'm going to bring to this seat is...
What, your understanding of constituency services?
No, not my availability, right? My willingness to take a phone call. When was the last time the state rep called you? Right, exactly. So that's the thing. Like, I'm willing to take those phone calls. I'm not going to hire a staff to do all the work for me. I'm going to be present in as many meetings as humanly possible, and I will get the information that the constituency desires. And the bottom line is, I can't really tell you what I'm going to do until I'm informed by the constituency. I feel like going door to door is the absolute best way to learn what it is the needs are. And as I see it, as a citizen myself, the fact is responsiveness just isn't there, especially with our current delegation.
All right, so I'll ask you now to present your question to Mr. Tam.
Sure. Chester, have you ever had an opportunity to take an important stand on a particular issue? When and what was that issue?
What do you mean by an important stand? Then?
Are you on record? Is that what you're asking? If he's on?
Yeah.
Doesn't have
you've been part of a board or a commission? Or,
So right now I am a elected town meeting member, and I've been going to the meetings for the past year and a half, and yes, I have an actual vote and a voice within our community in Dartmouth, with all the articles that they propose at every single meeting. And I did take a stand on not really making a decision, but like there was an issue with the snow that we had last year. They were trying to, in Dartmouth, they're trying to, an article to propose a $300 fine for each resident that's, not clearing their walkways when there's, 2 feet of snow on them. But you're talking about like someone who's old, who doesn't have the capacity to be able to shovel that much snow, they're getting fined constantly every single day, $300. Where I think that might have been businesses, but they were trying to make differentiate the difference between a business and a homeowner and how much but like you're still talking about a fine every single day. They weren't really prepared to put that article through, and there was amendment after amendment and amendment. So, I made the motion to kind of push that to the next meeting because we're not expecting any snow right now. Let's get it right. If we want something to happen in our town that's going to keep people safe, obviously having snow on the sidewalks and having kids walk on the street is not safe for them. Yes, they absolutely want to remove the snow, but do we, choke the residents?
So you're saying you were a factor in pushing this further down to get a better look at it at another time?
Yeah, so I'm saying
instead of passing it.
Well, so for them to kind of get back to the table, discuss the actual intricacies of the article, and make sure everything is the way it should be before presenting it for a vote. Because at the meeting, we went through almost 35, 40 minutes of just amendment after amendment. It just wasn't working. And then a lot of people were saying, well, the AG may not approve of this, so let's get it right and ask the people to vote for it.
Okay. All right, so it is time now for closing remarks. I believe you're going to go first, Henry Bousquet. So I'll give you 1 minute.
Thanks, Ken. My name is Henry Bousquet, and I have a proven track record here in the SouthCoast, not just as a teacher and as a former city councilor with a voting record, but I also have been involved in this community for the last 25 years. When I bought my first small business on the corner of Nauset and Mount Pleasant Street, it was a 38-seat diner. I worked hard for the people in that neighborhood, going to work every day at 3:30 a.m. to make cheese rolls and provide an opportunity for employment for a few people. And then I sold that restaurant and bought another restaurant in downtown in Bedford. I know what the rat race is like. And I'm willing to get in there and fight for the people, the small business owners, the educators, the firemen and the police officers and all the public safety folks in this community. And I'm willing to go in there and do the hard work and stand up and make a difference.
All right. Mr. Tim.
Okay. So I've actually already been serving as your unofficial state rep. I've showed up, I've listened, and I fight for Dartmouth and New Bedford. I've attended meetings, help residents concerned about the bike path, understanding the legal rights, and bringing in an attorney to speak with them. And I've been talking with neighbors about the proposed 40B projects that we have at the state in Eisenhower. So I'm the short Asian guy, if you haven't known, that's been out there at the meetings, showing up your house, visiting the businesses and knocking on your doors. Not to tell you what I care about and listen to what you care about. So I'm not a career politician, but I'm asking for your vote, that one chance on September to be your voice. Please visit my website at chestermtam.com. I have a lot of information there. Feel free to reach out to me on social media. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and X. Feel free to send me a message. I will respond personally. Thank you very much, Ken.
Which brings me to my next question is, now you just answered it, so people know how to get a hold of you or if they wanted to help with your campaign. Henry Bousquet, how would people help you if you were looking for campaign donations, things like that?
Sure. Ken, thank you. And thank you for providing this forum, by the way. I'm not sure if it would have happened otherwise. So my website's henrybousquet.com. It's HenryBousquet.com. I also have a Facebook page, CTE Henry Bousquet for state representative. I'm also on TikTok and X and all those things. So the best way I think people can reach me is talk to me at the next selectmen's meeting or talk to me at the next zoning board of appeals meeting. I'd love to see you there. I'd love to have a conversation with you about what's going on. And also, I'm in and out of the city council meetings and, all around town. So I hope to get the opportunity, Ken.
Right. Mr. Tam, one more time for your contact if folks wanted to get in touch with you.
Okay, so my website is Chester M. Tam, Chester with the middle initial M as in Michael, tam.com. And, I'm open.
2 M's in Tam?
Nope.
One M.
So it's Chester, Chester, M with my middle initial, Tam, TAM.com. And, I'm very out there and vocal about the things that are going on. Please reach out to me. I would love to hear from you. You can even have my cell number, 781-983-7893. Please give me a call.
Do you want to give out yours?
Yeah, I'm happy to. Yep, 508-989-7487. That's Henry Bousquet at henrybousquet.com.
All right. Gentlemen, thank you both for coming in. And I'm glad you were able to do this with me today.
No, thank you, Ken. I really appreciate you doing this for us.
You bet.
Yeah,
All right, we'll be back
Chester.
after this.
Kenny.
And again, thanks to both candidates. And I'll return right after the commercial break.
WBSM, New Bedford's news talk station. Listen at home or in the office on your smart speaker. Enable our skill and tell your smart speaker, play WBSM.
This podcast is sponsored by Talkspace.
Last year, I went through many different life changes. I needed to take a pause and examine how I was feeling in the inside to better show up for the ones who need me to be my best version of myself.
When you're navigating life's changes, Talkspace can help. Talkspace is the #1 rated online therapy, bringing you professional support from licensed therapists and psychiatry providers that you can access anytime, anywhere.
Living a busy life, navigating a long-distance relationship, becoming a first-step father, Talkspace made all of those journeys possible. I could speak with my therapist in the office. I could speak with my therapist in the comfort of my home. I was never alone.
Talkspace works with most major insurers, and most insured members have a $0 copay, no insurance, no problem. Now get $80 off your first month with promo code SPACE80 when you go to Talkspace.com. Match with a licensed therapist today at Talkspace.com. Save $80 with code SPACE80 at Talkspace.com.
This is Manny Resendiz reminding you to jumpstart your mornings with the Retirement Factory, Saturdays at 6 and Sundays at 10 here on 1420 WBSM.
The Ken Pittman Show, 1420 WBSM, New Bedford.
All right, we have a few minutes here to wrap it up. Again, thanks to both candidates, Mr. Bousquet and Mr. Tam, for joining us today. I thought that was a productive debate. We hope to continue that with the two Democrats running between Steve Medeiros and Ed Pacheco. And that'll happen, I'm sure. We'll be able to find a common ground time and date for that between the two candidates over the next 2 weeks. Let's go back to the phones. You are on the air with Ken. Hi.
Hi, Ken.
Hi.
What's up, buddy?
Hey, Johnny.
Hey, how about those Red Sox?
11 in a row, John.
Hey, I know. Remember the old
Morgan Magic?
Eddie Edelman?
Yeah.
The late Eddie Edelman?
Yeah.
And in 86, when the Patriots went to the Super Bowl, he kept saying, "You've got to believe."
Morgan was that was Morgan Magic, right?
Yes. But they're playing well, man. They're loose. 11 in a row.
Are they defying gravity, or were they underperforming? Which one is it?
No, they're fighting gravity. They're starting to hit, man. Everybody's hitting and they're having fun. They want to wear that Wally hat.
Winning's contagious. I hope the losing isn't, but winning's contagious.
They're not too far out of the wild card. They're pretty close.
No, they're in. Right now, they're half a game in.
Oh, they're half game. Oh, because that's right. They had a doubleheader yesterday.
Well, Minnesota's 49 and 49. The Sox are 48 and 48, so they have one less in the loss column.
Right. Oh, see, the boys of summer are back.
Well, it's not even August, so I'm not getting too excited. At the end of August, if they're still in it, I'll tell you we're doing something. But for now, I'm gonna continue to be a cynic.
Okay.
And a skeptic.
Yeah, I know the glass is half full, not half empty.
I don't know. I've seen this team how bad they can be too. So I'm not a believer yet.
Right. Okay, my man. Well, we can hope for the best.
Well, of course.
For the worst.
What about the Pats though? What about the Patriots?
What about them?
What are your expectations?
Oh, geez.
It's a better roster than it was last year, but they're also going to be tested a lot harder than they were last year.
I think they'll win the division.
Really? Well, a lot of people are wondering if Buffalo, despite the great play of Josh Allen, is going to be able to overcome a new coach with the rise of the Patriots while they win the division. Most people are saying, yeah, they'll probably be the first team in the AFC East, but I think that's up for grabs.
Well, yeah, kind of. Well, it's all predicated on injuries too. You lose somebody.
Yeah, you can't predict that. So just, on paper right now, I would say it's going to be a tight race. I would say, I might agree, the Bills would be slightly favored.
Right, but what do you think of the overall record? I mean, it's way early to say.
I'm going to say 11-6, 12-5.
I was thinking more 12-5.
I hope you're right.
Well, I didn't think that last year. Last year when we
Hell no.
They went to the damn Super Bowl.
Crazy.
Wow.
That's insane what happened to them in Mike Vrabel's first year and Drake May's first full year starting. I mean, nobody saw that. Nobody.
Well, no, nobody saw that coming, that's for sure. But the kid's going to be great. He's going to be the next Tom Brady. That's what I think.
Well, that's a lofty goal.
So.
That's a lofty goal, but I'm of course open to it and welcome that to happen. It'd be amazing to hit lightning twice. If he's the next franchise quarterback to bring it to multiple Super Bowls, that's quite a thing.
And he's got more guys to throw to, little better guys. A.J.
Brown is certainly an improving young core of talented receivers. It's going to be a better team on paper. I really believe that, but I don't know if that's going to reflect in the record.
That's true, but that's what all the sports writers are saying. But we all know, like I said, they only have to be right 51% of the time. I remember my dad telling me that. Like a bookie. A bookie only has to be right 51% of the time, and he's going to make money. If you're 49, nope, you lose.
Well, they get the juice, too, though.
Oh, I'm looking forward to it. I wish we got I mean, football's right around the corner.
It's right around next week. They show up a week from yesterday, right?
August. Wait, when's their first preseason game? That's usually August.
Yeah, but their camp starts. I want to say a week from yesterday, but it's coming up anyway.
Have you ever gone to them? See them in camp up in Foxborough?
Not in a long. I think you have to go back to Drew Bledsoe since I was there for summer camp.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
I met Gronk. It was about 3 years ago. I think it was. He waved. Well, I didn't meet him in person, but I was right where they were coming out to go on the practice field.
Gronk and Edelman, two of my all-time favorites. Troy Brown, Ty Law, but Gronk and Edelman are they're so fun to just even be around.
If you had a foursome to pick, if you want to play golf, who would you like to have in your foursome?
Bruce Lee, David Lee Roth, Clint Eastwood, and let me think about Rodney Dangerfield.
Rodney Dangerfield.
Or Bill Murray.
Bill Murray? No,
Yeah.
Bill Murray's a hell of a golfer, you know.
Carl Speckler, yes. Yep. No, Bill Murray. I should have thought of Bill Murray. He's one of my favorites.
Me too. Hey, enjoy your weekend, buddy.
Bruce Lee might not be a great golfer, though. But he was one of my first heroes.
Yeah. Just to have Gronk around you. You riding the cart around with that guy?
Yeah. Oh, certainly interesting. Thank you, John. Nice to hear from you.
Enjoy your weekend.
And thank you for listening. And we'll do it again next week. For Chester Tam, Henry Bousquet, this is Ken Pittman. We're done here for the week.
WBSM and W258DR, New Bedford, a Town Square media station.
What if your favorite way to unwind could actually reward you? With Mistplay, it can. Stop scrolling social media for nothing. Mistplay lets you earn points just for discovering and playing mobile games. Redeem them for gift cards from brands you love, simply for doing what you already do to relax. Download Mistplay today and make your downtime more rewarding.